Hopes are fading that any more survivors will be found in the rubble of a collapsed apartment complex in Florida. Now reports have emerged about an engineer warning of major structural damage to the building 3 years ago. So far, officials have confirmed 5 deaths, but more than 150 people are still unaccounted for.
A makeshift memorial has sprung up in the suburb of Surfside to the scores of people engulfed in the rubble of the collapsed apartment block. Search and rescue teams are working around the clock, probing their way agonizingly slowly through the shifting mountain of debris. A fire burning deep beneath the rubble is complicating efforts.
The fire is deeply seated, deeply rooted under the structure. So you've seen it in and out, and unfortunately we keep having flare-ups of it, and it's just not accessible. So those are difficulties. That's another challenge that we're encountering, and you know, we're constantly going in aggressively, trying to get as close as we can to extinguish that fire, but unfortunately we haven't been able to get that extinguished 100% yet.
But rescuers and the people of Surfside refuse to give up hope.
Full speed ahead on search and rescue. And you ask, why do we have hope? We have hope because that's what our search and rescue team tells us, that they have hope. And as long as they can do that, and as long as they have encouraging signs like the knocking sound that they've heard, then we will continue.
Volunteers at the Surfside Community Centre are giving what help they can to survivors. As the tense wait for news of loved ones continues, people are starting to demand answers. Surfside Council has revealed that an engineering report in 2018 had detailed structural failures in the building. But the building managers were still shaping plans for a repair project that was set to get underway, quote, soon. For those trapped under the rubble, it was not soon enough.
Well, DW's Carolina Chimoy is following the story from Washington, D.C. So, Carolina, what more do we know about this report?
Well, Rahila, apparently 3 years before this happened, a consultant found alarming evidence of major structural damage in that same building. The building is 40 years old, and the engineers' report showed plans for a very expensive, a multi-million-dollar repair project that was set to get underway soon. But this did not happen, obviously, and the report detailed significant cracks and breaks in the concrete in the walls, which required repairs as soon as possible to ensure the safety of the residents and of the public around the building. Now, the mayor of Miami-Dade County, where this building is, announced a 30-day audit for all buildings that are 40 years and older under the county's jurisdiction.
Now, there's clearly growing pressure on authorities to explain how this disaster happened. What have they been saying?
They are all, of course, under pressure because Surfside condo and other structures in that same area, they are all afraid, they are shocked by these images, and they're trying to see if their buildings might be in the same situation. The mayor also said they want to make sure that every building in that area has completed their certification and recertification process that is due after 40 years, and that they want to make sure to move quickly to remediate any issues that may have been identified in that process. But these pictures are also shocking for people who are not only in that county, but in the Miami area, especially for families who have, of course, been witnessing how difficult it is, not only talking about the infrastructure, but the personal loss that families living in this building have had. I mean, the fact that the people who are rescuing there are still hearing people knocking in the rubble is, of course, shocking and sad at the same time, because they do want to rescue them, but they're running out of time, and this is pretty obvious.
Yeah, time is running out here, and I'd love to get your thoughts then on how the rescue efforts are currently going right now. What is the status there?
Well, they say they still hear tapping sounds under the rubble, but at the same time, we have heard about the fires that are going down there. And this, of course, would make hope perhaps a bit smaller for them. But we already heard it in the report. They don't want to give up hope. And the fire right now there is, of course, a totally disaster for the ones who might still be there and might have survived the crashing of this building.
OK, Carolina Chimoy monitoring that story for us from Washington, D.C. Thank you.